Welcome to The Dental Deal, the podcast for dental professionals exploring a DSO partnership. In each episode of The Dental Deal, the 7 Pillars team will demystify the world of DSOs. 7 Pillars has helped countless dental professionals achieve their dreams of growth and expansion by connecting them with the right DSOs. In this episode of The Dental Deal, Christy is joined by Brittany Frazier, a financial planner at Cain Watters. They discuss financial planning and the integral role proper planning plays throughout practice transitions. Tune in to learn how debt management, tax allocation, investment strategy, and retirement planning can work in harmony to maximize the value of your practice. Subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, and be sure to join us for our upcoming episodes.
Thanks so much, and thanks for joining us on The Dental Deal. My name's Christy Ratcliffe with 7 Pillars, and today we have a special guest, Brittany Frazier from Cain Watters Associates. Brittany's been a planner with Cain Watters for about 10 years, and I've had the opportunity of working with her on many occasions, and we're so excited for you to be here. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Wonderful. So tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
Yes, I am a CPA and financial advisor with Cain Watters. I went to SMU here in Dallas, and have been here about 10 years. I've been seeing clients for about 6, and I have a team of about 90 clients. And most of our clients obviously are dental practice owners, small business owners, and we work with them to maximize their wealth and work on everything from debt management to tax planning to investment strategy and retirement planning.
So I imagine with 90 or so clients all in the dental field, DSOs are a hot topic, and I'm sure this comes up frequently when you talk to your clients.
Yes, all day long in the consult room, I'd say, probably 80 to 90% of my consults, each week, this is talked about in some capacity. I think the DSO, space has changed so much. It's not the same as it was 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. So I think that's why it's being talked about so much, because it's a viable option for many people who understand that it's, they're not all created the same, and that there's another way to transition your practice aside from a private sale.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's, it used to be that DSOs were bad and it was corporate and they're changing your name and to make you wear the shirt and all the thing. And I think that people are starting to see through people who have had successful transitions that there's a lot of ways to do this. Right?
Yeah, actually, most of them don't change your name anymore. Most people don't even know you've sold your practice.
Well, what are some struggles that you see your clients face as they look to transition in the DSO space or with a private practice? Like, what are some struggles that you see?
Yeah, I think the biggest struggle is to identify why they're looking at doing it, right? If it's financial, that's one thing, but we try to get clients to think about it and understand really why are you trying to do this? And it really can't just be financial. If it's financial, then, what happens if, yes, you're going to maximize the value out of your business and you're going to get more money than you could have ever done in a private sale. Mm-hmm. But what happens to you after? What if you're not going to be done in 5 years? You're kind of stuck with this setup.
Yeah.
And, you need to look at what you're working with afterwards, right?
Yeah.
The aftermath is what I call it. And then, obviously the non-financial, could be another reason.
Mm-hmm.
So things like if you're only making a decision because you don't like the administrative work anymore and you don't like running a business or being a business owner, which we hear a lot, right? I mean,
Amen.
it's harder and harder to be a small business owner. If you don't like that stuff, but you're not really looking at the financial, implications of the deal, it may not work for you. And then you're stuck and you don't have enough money to fund, your financial freedom, your retirement. So I think that's the biggest struggle, is understanding why and making sure that there are other reasons besides financial to do a deal like this.
Yeah. I mean, we always say if you're only doing this for the money, then you're probably doing it for the wrong reasons and you should probably look elsewhere. And I think these are, like you said, more money than you ever could have received from a private transaction. Your job as a financial planner is to maximize and look at money. And, we oftentimes say sometimes you'll look at a practice offer and you look at kind of what they could have made from just staying in private practice and then selling down the road. And oftentimes that math is maybe if we're not looking at certain specialties, like sometimes that math is equal, but I'm sure you have clients who look at that and still say, I get it, but like, this is what I want to do. Like, what are some things that you kind of help coach them on when the math is kind of equal, or maybe staying in private practice, maybe long-term is better, but their plan is still working? Like, how do you help coach them through that decision?
Yeah, I think it really comes down to, again, why are you trying to do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, let's say the financial is equal, the financial reward
Mm-hmm.
is equal in both scenarios. Are you looking for a partner? What is your time horizon? Depending on how old you are, do you have a transition plan?
Mm-hmm.
If you have a shorter term and you're wanting to be done in the next 3 to 5 years, and you don't have someone to sell your practice to, then it could work depending on where you're geographically located. Again, all of these things need to be considered. On the other side of that, let's say you're younger and you just kind of want a partner. You want to have someone helping you with all of the administrative stuff, but you love what you do and you could keep doing this for a while. The financial, if you're young and the financial reward of doing it makes sense. A lot of times they don't realize, I talk to my clients all the time about, you could do something after this, right? Once you're done working, if you love the DSO, you can still work for them. But if you're kind of done and that's it, you can go start another practice, if you're in your 40s or 50s.
Mm-hmm.
So really trying to get a little bit deeper as to why are you doing this?
Yeah.
And again, assuming that the finances are equal.
Yeah. And I think that's so important because we were talking to a DSO group the other day, and their average age for their sellers, right, is actually really young, right? Like, a lot of people think of this as like an exit strategy, and it absolutely can be an exit strategy for certain practitioners, but there's a lot of younger people who are doing this. They're entrepreneurial, they're growing. The reason why they're joining a DSO isn't for an exit plan, at least right now. It's for a growth strategy and for the ability to kind of move forward. And so I think that's really smart that you coach your clients on that. And I also think they go to school for so long, it's kind of like, okay, well, I have to do this forever, and that's not always true, right? We can make changes, we can pivot as we get older and figure out what our passions are. So,
Absolutely.
Okay, what are the biggest mistakes? You've had a few clients who have worked with us. I'm sure you've had clients who haven't worked with 7 Pillars. What is the biggest mistake you see clients make as they decide to enter this DSO process and then ultimately decide to sell? Like, what kind of mistakes, or what kind of, I hate to say mistakes, but maybe oversights have you seen?
This is like a slam dunk easy one for me. This is what I call chasing the multiple. This is where you have someone that's decided they're going to pursue this for whatever reason. Hopefully, if they work with us, it's for something other than a financial reward, and they are simply trying to find who's going to pay them the most, right? So getting that client to make the decision, first of all, to dissect, what does that actually mean? I'll pay you a 10 multiple. Okay, but what are you paying me a multiple of, right? What is my EBITDA, which everybody likes to talk about? How are you defining that? Because the way I define it might be different than that buyer, that potential buyer. So that's the first thing is chasing the multiple. How do we dissect and understand that? I have found that straight up clients will say, well, this one's going to pay me a higher multiple, so I'm going with that one. And you have to really spend the time. I've had two that just could not get over the number, and those two are probably the least happy that I know of my clients that are in deals that they probably shouldn't be in. And so I would say that is just kind of that fear of missing out and kind of the like I say, the chasing the multiple.
I love that so much. And your job is to help ensure the client's financial plan is secure. And so, you would think that you would like them chasing the multiple because it helps make their plan secure, but we know that that's not what really results in the happiness on the back end. We often have clients who, at 7 Pillars or people we talk to, or you hear this in the market on, boards, et cetera, where they want to go at it alone, right? They've done a lot of research. They've listened to a lot of podcasts. They've had friends of friends who've gone through this, and they say, hey, I've got a strong CPA, and I've got a strong planner or an attorney, and I don't need someone to help, like a 7 Pillars to help me walk through this process. What do you say to those people as the person who is the trusted advisor who, knows a lot about them and has been with them probably through a ton of ups and downs? What is your advice to those people?
So I can give my advice to them based on experience, right? So I have dealt with potential sellers that have used representation, that have not used representation, but that have also used 7 pillars and that have used others as well. So I would say in general, like I tell my clients, look, the things that you need to understand is a broker will help you understand why. So like using a 7 pillars, why are you doing this? So we talked about that a little bit earlier, right? But also once you've decided the why, they help you find the right match, right? Who am I going to be, in business with for the next at least, 5 years beyond? Who do I trust, right? My equity. Part of my value is going to be in not cash, right? So hopefully that, we recapitalize that at a higher multiple than what we were purchased at, right? Yep. So, because otherwise it doesn't work. And so who am I trusting to do these things? Who will let me practice the way that I want to? And that's what a broker will do. That's what 7 pillars does for my clients. And so, I like I said before, I mean, I've seen differences with people that have done it on their own and chased the multiple, or for whatever reason they felt like they could negotiate this themselves. So I think the why is really important to use someone like that. I think also finding the right fit. And then also the most important, probably most rewarding thing is the financial value, right?
Yep.
Who is going to maximize this financial value out of your practice? Me going to negotiate for myself, it's not going to be me.
Yeah.
It's going to be somebody that knows these deals in and out. They know the space. They can put one buyer against the other and say, hey, I got a buyer that's willing to pay this. And, that is where the value comes in of working with someone like you guys.
Yep.
And so that I've had such good experience with my clients that use you guys because of that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I also love to hear about, because we love our clients. I love the relationship that we get to build, and this is such a pivotal moment in their career. I'm always a little bit jealous of you guys because you get to see everything that comes after. You get to kind of continue that relationship post-close. So tell us a little bit about your clients who have kind of walked through this path. They've had the emotional moments. They've found the right partner. They've closed on the deal. Tell me a little bit about what that looks like for you as a planner and dealing with them, and kind of what struggles they have. Do they like it? Do they not? Like, kind of walk me through some of those experiences.
So, once you guys have worked your magic and done your thing, and this is the now what stage, right?
Yeah.
So we're working with our clients, then we take over really, and we're working with them to maximize the tax efficiencies, to make sure they've funded the right vehicles, to make sure we know how they're going to live off of their money. How do we allocate it? Do we have liquidity? What is our time horizon for accessing that liquidity? Those kinds of things. And then, from there, we are looking at, all their whole life, right?
Yeah.
I didn't really answer your question.
No, that's okay.
But,
I think that part of it is what people lose, right? Like that part of it is, I think, important because you go from a practice owner and you have profitability and you kind of you're running things through your business, and I don't think a lot of people understand like how much they're maximizing their practice and kind of what they're living off of truly, right? Post-close, we start getting paid a W-2 wage, and we might have some profit that we get, and we got the big check, but now the big check is hopefully invested and kind of working for us. But now we have to figure out how to live on that base salary, that W-2. And so I think what we have experienced with clients who have a Cain Watters team or an equivalent financial planner is they really are better off post-close because they know what to expect and they know what to live on.
Yeah.
Do you think your clients have been happy, right? Like that's all that there's a fear of missing out on the front end, but then there's also a fear of like, what if this is the wrong decision? Like, how do you think your clients are?
I think when they've worked with someone like a 7 pillars, they already know. They know what to expect. They know who they're going to be working with. They know the philosophy. They know what to expect. So I would say my clients that do these deals are extremely happy. I've had the same 2 I referred to earlier that are not, but they didn't know what they were getting into. They were chasing the multiple, and they didn't understand all of the value of all the other stuff, right? Mm-hmm. It was all financial to them, and now they're working through it, and they're struggling with all of the things like how do I practice the dentistry and the aftermath, right? The fallout. Yeah. So I mean, I would say my clients for the most part are extremely happy, and they know exactly what they're getting, and they're very, very, positive about their futures.
What would be your one piece of advice for someone who is thinking about doing this and, kind of has never really taken a full inventory of kind of their world? They just kind of know, and they've heard the EBITDA and the multiples, and they know they have a good practice, but they've never really taken a full inventory, and they kind of want to walk down this road.
We've said it a couple times, but it's why? Why do you want to do this? You need to make sure you understand your business, right? And how your business would fit into theirs. But really, the primary reason is why. What are we trying to do here? Because then if you know the answer to that, I feel that in my experience, my clients that know the answer to that end up in the right setup.
They can put the pieces together more easily if you know what the big picture looks like.
What are we trying to accomplish here, right?
Yeah, versus trying to figure out the puzzle pieces and kind of understand what the picture is. Look at the box, understand the picture before you start to put together
because
the puzzle.
I can make the math work, right?
Yeah.
Like, here's my number, here's some assumptions. We can make it work these three ways, right? But it needs to be more than just that. So you start with the why, right?
I love it. This has been so much fun, Brittany. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate your time, and I think this is a great perspective for those listeners that are out there who are partway through the process or thinking about joining. I think it's incredible, and you're a big asset to your clients.
Awesome. Thank you. You guys are awesome, and we love working with you guys.
Thanks so much. That's a great perspective. I have so much enjoyed our conversation. You're an incredible asset to your clients and to our joint clients. And I just am so grateful you've decided to join us today.
This has been so much fun. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for listening in today throughout this episode. I hope that you've gained some knowledge about financial planning, their perspective on the DSO transaction, both before and after. And if you're listening and don't necessarily have that financial plan or have that perspective, feel free to reach out to cainwatters.com. I know they'd be happy to help. I'm Christy Ratcliffe with 7 Pillars. This is Brittany Frazier with Cain Watters Associates, and this is The Dental Deal.
Thanks for listening to The Dental Deal, a podcast for dental professionals considering a DSO partnership. Subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, and be sure to join us for our upcoming episodes. Until then, keep smiling.